Hi boys and girls, it is time for our social studies for our Native Americans. I hope you've been enjoying it as much as I have. And so yesterday we started learning about the Lakota Sioux tribe, and today we're going to learn more about them, but we're going to do it by reading a story about a little Lakota Sioux girl. I think it's going to be fun. Her name is Mapia. So get comfy, because this is going to be a little bit longer reading today. Okay, here we go. This is Mapia, a Lakota Sioux girl. And why do you think she looks so happy? Every year, Mapia looks forward to moving with her family to their summer camp. After several days of traveling from their winter camp, they finally arrived at Mapia's favorite place. They have moved here to hunt buffalo. Remember we learned about hunting buffalo yesterday. While the men hunt for buffalo, Mapia and her family will live in this special spot with other Lakota Sioux families until the days shorten, signaling fall. This is Mapia's family. So there's Mapia smiling by the tree because she's so excited to be in their summer camp. And this is Mapia's family. Her mother, her father, her grandmother, and her little sister, Tashna, and her baby brother, Shatan. Do you see anything in the picture that is made from buffalo skins? Remember we learned about that yesterday? Yes, their clothes and moccasins are made of buffalo skin, and their teepees, their houses, are made from buffalo skin also. Think of how easy it would be if you could carry your house around with you wherever you went. And you can do that if you live in a teepee. And teepees are easily taken apart and put back together again. And if we can look closely at the picture, do you see two poles near the horse's head? So here's the horse, and there's two poles right here over his head, and they go out way back here behind him. And this is a frame there's a frame connected to the poles behind the horse, and it's called a travois, and it's a type of a sled used to pull the family's teepee and other belongings. So like some families now, if you have to haul something, you might have to rent a U-Haul trailer. This is instead of a U-Haul trailer. They can put all their stuff on, and there's like a little trailer behind the horse called a travois, and that's how they moved all of their stuff. Do you think you could get all of your stuff on one little sled behind a horse? I couldn't get all my stuff on there. I need a lot of horses. Okay. Mapia's mother is the one who always packs and unpacks the teepee and other belongings. Before leaving the winter camp, Mapia's father piled their clothing, blankets, and rugs onto the backs of the horses. And many things were loaded onto the travois. Even grandmother and Tashna rode on the travois. Chitan traveled in a cradle on mother's back. That would be nice. You didn't have to walk at all. So there's the whole family traveling. There's her dad out front. There's the horse piled with its stuff and the travois. They have two horses with travois. They had some extra stuff. So as Mapia's family will raise its teepee beside some cottonwood trees, because it's summertime, they need shade from those trees. And Mother leans Chitan's cradle board against the tree trunk in the shade. He is fast asleep. Mapia usually has to watch over little Tashna, but today, grandmother... Oh my goodness. Sorry, boys and girls. I went to the wrong spot. I'm going to start again. Okay, so we're going to go back to this picture. I skipped ahead a little bit. So Mapia packs her toys into a parfleche. It's like a backpack. A small bag made from buffalo hide. Are your backpacks made of buffalo hide? I don't think they are. Mine isn't. She took special care with her doll, Winona, wrapping her up in a little fur blanket before putting her into the parfleche. Some of us like to carry our toys in our backpacks, huh? It's the same. Mother made Winona for Mapia. Mother also helped Mapia sew clothes and little beaded moccasins for the doll. Mapia loves Winona very much. Okay, so there's Mapia with her doll, Winona, and her parfleche, her backpack. Okay, we're on the right track now. And this is their camp. The Lakota Sioux are busy setting up their new summer camp. Their teepees form a circle with all the doorways facing the same direction, east, away from the strong winds that blow across the plains from the west. We get a lot of strong winds here, don't we? It's kind of the same thing, and they didn't want the wind blowing straight into their teepee, and so they made sure they put them in the right direction so their teepees don't blow over. So they are set up in order of the family's importance. Since the chief is the person in charge of the tribe, his teepee is the most important. Mapia's father is a respected hunter and warrior or fighter, so his family's teepee is placed near the chief's. So there's all the teepees. And you can see they're by the trees over there. All right, there's Mapia's family. And they will raise its teepee by some cottonwood trees. Mother leans Chitan's cradle board against a tree trunk in the shade. He is fast asleep, and Mapia usually has to watch over little Tashna, but today grandmother will look after her. She will take her over to visit Mapia's aunt because her teepee has been raised already. Mapia is given a break. Tashna is always getting into mischief. Maybe she just gets in trouble. We never get into mischief, do we? Never. Okay, Mother starts raising the teepees framed with long, thin wooden poles. To build the teepee, Mother ties the poles together using a long rope. Then she pulls them upright to shape a triangle. And this makes a strong base. It's big on the bottom and small on the top, like a triangle. And then she adds more poles to the frame, leaning them up against the notch formed by the 3 poles at the top. So there's 3 main poles, and then she adds more poles for support. The teepee cover is attached to the last pole. Lifting the pole up at the back of the teepee, Mother leans it onto the other poles. Then Mapia helps her pull the cover around all the poles, making the walls of the teepee. They join the 2 sides of the cover with pegs, leaving an opening for the doorway under the last peg. It sounds kind of like setting up a tent, doesn't it? If you've ever set up a tent with the poles and having to stand it up. During the hot summer months, they will roll the teepee cover up from the bottom to let in air. And the smoke hole at the top of the teepee can be opened and closed too, allowing smoke or air to flow in. For the smoke to escape and for air to come in, because they could make fires inside their teepee too to stay warm. All right, our next picture. At last, the teepee is completed. Mapia thinks about her own toy teepee. She wants to set it up for her doll, Winona. Mapia took the toy teepee apart before packing it and will put it together again just as her mother did with the family's teepee. By copying her mother in her play, Mapia learns how to do things she will have to do when she is grown up. Mapia finds the parfleche in which she packed her toys lying open on the ground. She reaches inside and pulls out the soft deerskin teepee cover and the little wooden poles. Winona's little fur blanket is there too. But Winona is not inside the blanket. Mapia pulls everything out of the bag. No, Winona! She's lost her doll. Worried, Mapia searches through the other bags, but her doll is not inside any of them. Did Winona fall out of the bag while the family was traveling here? Is the little doll lost in the grass that covers the plains? So much grass and such a long trip. If Winona fell out along the way, how would Mapia find her? She would never find her. Mapia's father finds her searching for Winona in the long grass. Have you seen my doll? Mapia asks him. No, he answers. I found my parfleche open. Maybe Winona fell out along the way. Don't worry, Father says. I was the one who took all the parfleche off the horses when we got here. None of them were open. Your doll could not have fallen out along the way. Whew! At least they know she's somewhere in the camp. Mapia joins her mother, who has made a fire and is starting to cook. Mother tightens his bow as Chitan continues to sleep. Mother, have you seen Winona? Asks Mapia. No, says Mother. I haven't seen your doll. So there they are. They're cooking. They've got the teepee up. She's looking for her dolly. Just then, Chitan wakes up and starts to cry. Of all of the family, Mapia is best at getting Cheetah to stop crying. She goes over to the tree and makes a silly face and sticks out her tongue. Cheetah stops crying and he laughs and laughs. That's when Mapia sees them. Two little beaded moccasins poking up upside down from the cradle board. She tugs hard, and out come the legs, then the dress, then the arms, and the head of Winona. Mapia gives Winona a big hug. Mapia asks, "How did you get in there, silly girl?" How would her dolly get stuck in her brother's cradle board? At that moment, Tashna toddles over from Auntie's teepee with grandmother trying her best to keep up. Tashna sees the doll. "Nona," she exclaims. She pulls Winona out of Mapia's hand and sticks the doll back in Cheetah's cradle board. "Now I know who did it," says Mapia. "It was little sister." "You're right, Mapia. I suppose tomorrow I will have to make Tashna a doll of her own." The end. Well, I'm so glad Mapia found her doll, and we got to learn a lot about setting up teepees and part of how the Lakota Sioux lived on the plains, and that they had to move from winter places to summer places so that they would have better hunting. And now we have our worksheets in our packet. Okay, our first worksheet, there's directions right here on the side if we need somebody to read them at home. And it says, draw a picture of the kind of house of which the Lakota Sioux lived, and then draw a picture of what the Lakota Sioux ate. And then finish the picture of the Lakota Sioux Native American by dressing the figure in typical Sioux clothing. You may choose to make the figure a boy or a girl. So in this top picture, you're going to draw me a house. And what did they live in? They lived in teepees, didn't they? So you're going to draw me a teepee that they would have lived in. And you can go back and look at the video and look at the pictures up here if you need to look. And then this picture that you're going to draw is something that they would have ate. So remember, they're buffalo hunting. So you could draw a picture of buffalo because that is something that they ate. And then right here, you can make this into a boy or a girl, and you can draw headdresses and the kind of clothes that they wore, maybe a dress, maybe just some leggings, but with beads. And you can go back also to the pictures and you can pause on them to look at them to see what the Lakota Sioux clothes look like. Okay, and then our next worksheet, this one's going to take a little more, but it says, what type of house does Mapia and her family live in? Well, we're going to circle a teepee because they lived in the teepee, right? And then we have steps on how to make a teepee. So you can draw pictures on this side. It says step 1, step 2, and step 3. So first they started with the 3 poles, and then they added additional poles, and the final step was to wrap the buffalo hide around the teepee. So you can draw the 3 pictures of the steps of setting up their teepee, and then you can draw your pictures on the first worksheet. And I hope you have fun doing it. And remember, you can always go back in the video and you can pause and look at the pictures if you need to see what to draw. Have lots of fun, guys. See you in a little bit.